Now, no more fucking around. It's Wild Style Radio. Wild Style Radio.
You're fucking around.
Yes, we are. We're not fucking around, and we're back on the Stand Up and Shout Rock Show with Wisk and Kev, and it's Spotlight on Friday night, and we are joined in the studio by Cursor,
The headlining act.
the headlining act.
Yeah, we got the main crew in the house.
And I must say, before we get too far, this is the Stand Up and Shout Rock Show coming to you live from Salisbury Center Studios on the Wild Style Network, fueled by Monster Energy.
Yes. All
And
right.
Guys, welcome to the Stand Up and Shout Rock Show into the Salisbury Center.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Nice to see you.
having us.
Let you guys introduce yourselves. For those, I'm new to Cursor, so everyone else that may be watching may be new to Cursor, so you guys don't
Sure.
mind? Like,
Want to kick it off?
Yeah.
I'm Stefan and I play drums.
Yeah. I'm Luke. I sing and play guitar in Cursor.
I'm Randy. I play bass. Just enjoying some Monster Energy drink.
there
you
help
go.
yourself. Seriously, help you
Really?
crack
Really?
it. Absolutely crack it. Yeah. Yeah.
Release the crack.
We'll charge you later.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
We'll charge you later.
Yeah, right. Of course.
I'm Joshua. I play lead guitar. Ladies give me a call.
Mm-hmm.
I'm married. I'm just kidding.
And you stay chill with the beer. You stay chilled with the beer over there, Joshua. Yeah.
The better energy drink.
Exactly.
Modelo.
Cheers. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Thank
Yes. Yeah.
you. Happy Friday.
Thanks for joining us. So obviously we haven't seen you guys before. So tell us and the viewers on the live stream a little bit about the band.
Yeah. So we've been doing this since around 2017. We started.
Okay.
We put out a couple EPs, and we're actually just finishing up our first debut record.
Oh,
That's coming out this May.
excellent.
Awesome.
But yeah, I think we just love playing music. We love each other's company as much. Just making music and just pushing the limits. Just doing our thing.
Playing rock and roll. We're rock and rollers.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Oh, we got more monsters. John is producing the monster. The monster man.
Stop cold, baby. Thank you, sir. Thank you. And this is really good.
I don't know what flavor you had.
Ultra peachy keen.
Yes. We had
Did
Age
we
of
do
Ruin.
that one?
With Age of Ruin, so we did a pairing, like a wine pairing,
Oh yeah.
except it was with Pringles
Yeah.
and Monster flavors. So we were trying to like mix and match, the Pringles flavors that were out there with the Monster flavors that
Right
were
on.
out there and see what. And it was that was a bizarre experience because it was not booze induced.
Yes, and we're not sponsored by Miller Lite yet.
I just caught you with the Miller Lite up over the table.
What monster flavor would you say that Cursor reminds you of, Luke?
Oh, that's a good. That's a great question.
That's a great question.
Yeah, I'm gonna remember that one.
I don't know, man. I think the OG. The OG
That's one going the original, the
just
dark,
just
the black
original. Like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
I
straight
feel
up.
like we're some older cats.
All right.
We've been around for a little bit. I mean, I've been playing music around this area since what, like 2000?
Us three grew up
Wow.
together.
Yeah.
We're all
Wow.
from a little place called
Yeah,
Culpeper.
we all went to high school together.
Culpeper.
Had Culpeper, Virginia high school bands, and we used to play together in high school. And their band used to play with my band in high school, and so yeah, we've been around the area for a little bit.
So let me ask, what were you playing back then? Like, what were you covering back then?
So we were doing all original music.
Original.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
High school, dropped the first record. Singing, doing the record, trying to get on the Warped Tour
Okay.
circuit. Doing the early 2000s thing, and
Yeah.
did that for a while. Put out a record, my band did, and then
And let me ask, I'm just curious for myself, what was that band name?
Iron Lung Remedy.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah.
Can't hold us back, can't tie us down. Represent Culpeper. Woo, woo. But yeah, that was a great time.
Sure.
We're all the same age. We're all in our 30s.
Uh-huh.
And Steph is a little bit
They
younger. Steph's the baby.
He's the big boy.
But also from Culpeper.
No.
Okay.
I'm actually from Berkeley Springs, West Virginia.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
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 I'm the new one of the group.
He's a new
So I
Actually, Randy's the newest.
It's true.
You were here
Okay.
That's
before Randy.
well, you guys have history.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
I met these guys back in probably around 2017.
Yeah. That's right.
My band played a show and Cursor was on the bill, and that was my first introduction to them. And I was hooked. I was a big fan.
Mhm.
I followed their music. I followed them on social media.
Sure.
And in 2021, their drummer at the time fell ill shortly before a gig, and with less than 48 hours notice, they hit me up. They're like, "Hey, man, like, do you think you can hop on this gig?
Yeah.
You probably already know the music."
Yeah.
I didn't, but I said I did. And
Fake it till you make it.
that's right.
Yes.
That's right. And
Fake it till you make it.
they've kept me around.
Yes,
The chemistry was there.
Yeah.
it was. It was.
So as a drummer jumping into that, talk about that experience. You know, you faked it and then you said, and you made it, but
Yeah. So I'm fortunate to have been able to play with a lot of different bands and a lot of different musicians. And I have a recording studio out in Berkeley Springs. So I'm used to learning music within a short time frame. So what I did was I called off of work the next day and I downloaded all of the music, and I had like my little notebook. And, you know, I just listened through all the songs, and I started like a song at a time, and I would listen until I memorized all of the changes, the song structure and whatnot. And then I would try to, like, without even playing it on the kit, just kind of air drum it or like beatbox the beat. Because the way I kind of go about it is that if you can recite what's happening, then you're more likely to be able to play it. If I understand like what the guitars are doing, what the bass is doing, and then if I can kind of beatbox the drum beat, I should be able to play it decently. So I would do that through all the songs, and if I messed up, I would start over. Just keep doing it over and over and over throughout the whole set, and then I would have a little notebook with some my little cheat sheet because some of the music is a little bit more tricky, like less. It wasn't as easy for me to memorize. So I was up like every bit of those 24 hours cramming all of the music and the arrangements, and I did my best, guys.
I think you knew the songs better than we did.
I was going to say, we never practiced together. We just got on the stage and just like let it roll.
First time playing together was
no
right on
practice.
stage.
Got on stage and ripped.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Killed it.
So talk about your musical influences. Obviously, you've been playing for a while. You know, started in the 2000s. You said,
Yeah.
Band came together 2017. So that stretches pretty wide breadth of bands and music. And so let's talk about.
Absolutely. Well, yeah. So Cursor was a project. I was kind of in between projects at the time, and I was just writing some songs. And I've always been kind of influenced by. I grew up with Waylon and Willie, outlaw country, Merle.
Yeah.
My dad was a country singer, so just really a fan of good songwriting and good choruses and having something to say when you sing, you know?
Yeah.
And that kind of was the foundation, and then I grew into some R&B shit like Otis Redding, Percy Sledge, like loving that kind of stuff. And I've always just loved like that high and lonesome sound, you know? So I was always drawn to the sadder music. So I remember like the first time I heard a band like the Deftones, I heard that band, and it just like, I was like, wow, that's the sound. And I actually got to see them live for the first time in 2000, and it just kind of blew my mind. And I would say like Deftones, kind of Thrice, those kinds of bands that like The Used, those early bands, you know, in the 2000s, that whole like, you know, Warped Tour kind of screamo thing, Glassjaw, those kinds of bands, you know, Incubus, those kinds of bands. Like that was what really got the fuel going for me, you know. And that kind of was the foundation for starting to write songs, you know. And just started writing some songs. I was living with some friends at the time, and he played bass, and I was like, hey, do you want to play some bass on these songs? And then I had some friends, you know, and we just kind of put those songs together, and that turned into the first EP, which was Seeking Connection. And yeah, man, I would just say influences, man, like that'd be a long conversation. That's a big breath. But just a fan of just good music and having something to say when you sing, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd love to hear what you guys say too.
Well, my dad, growing up, like he's a professional mariachi musician.
Oh, okay.
So music was always playing in the house, and he was also a big fan of just rock music. Like his favorite band is Guns N' Roses. Also loves like Bon Jovi, the Beatles, and Zeppelin, all those guys. I grew up listening to that style of music. But it wasn't until, you know, probably around 2006 or 2007 where I started getting into wanting to play the drums. And it was like metal at the time, bands like Avenged Sevenfold and Kill Switch Engage,
Okay.
Bullet for My Valentine, Seven Dust. Like those were the bands that got me hooked. So like those are like my early influences that kind of got me to where I was like, man, the drums are they're sick. And then as I have continued to play with other people, I've been able to learn, because I always love asking people like, hey, like, what are you into? What do you like to listen to? Because I just love music. I love it all.
Yeah.
And it helps me kind of add to my own like playing style. The more you understand other like musicians and kind of like their background and what makes them kind of inspired to play, it helps inspire me.
Right.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, cool.
So everything the both of them just said applies for me too. But I've been listening to a lot of The Strokes lately.
Yeah.
And The Cure.
Uh-huh.
Kind of going back to where I started to learn bass with. The Strokes are actually one of the bands that got me into playing bass.
Uh-huh.
Weezer, Led Zeppelin.
Uh-huh.
I like newer stuff. I like Intervals, Plenty. I like both the bass players for those bands. Yeah, that's everything you guys said. The stuff I listened to, Used, Avenged Sevenfold.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, starting out, it was things like 9 Inch Nails, Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Mhm.
It was kind of all over the place, right?
Yeah.
And Nirvana. Things like you would go on the computer and print out tabs and start with, right?
Sure.
Everything that was on the radio that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then us being the same age, everything Luke mentioned is so relevant. Like Deftones were amazing, you know, like I was like your teenage years and you're like, oh, that's sex music right there, you know? Like, you're having the wet dreams. The Deftones are definitely the music for it.
Me and this guy right here, we grew up together, learning to play guitar with each other in his bedroom. We play a lot of Iron Maiden and stuff like that.
I was getting to that. It actually evolved and got to where it was like, it started with Iron Maiden and then got to where he was with the Avenged Sevenfold and the Kill Switch and stuff like that. So it's kind of like a little evolutionary step here. Like I can agree with everything they're saying. Like it's vice versa here, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I love all music.
Sure.
You know, I'm inspired by all of it.
Yeah. And like newer bands, like I'm a huge fan of bands like Narrowhead, Fleshwater, Brutus. I'm just checking in these bands, but like I'm really loving this like new wave of like it's almost like the 90s are coming back, but in a fresh way. You know, it's cool. It's like I feel like the older you get in this game, you see these cycles.
Yes, absolutely,
and I love it.
Yep, no doubt.
Yeah, and we agree. We talk about it all the time because you know we grew up in I think we're a little bit older than you guys. So,
I'll get out of here.
we were in high school in the 80s, so all the hair metal bands, Metallica, Megadeth, all that stuff.
Love it.
But we talk often about rock coming back. And there's a lot of great new rock bands.
There is.
I love Dirty Honey. I think.
Oh yeah.
Great. Rival Sons. There's just some great stuff out there that we can kind of see rock is coming back.
Yeah.
Where a lot of people are saying, "Oh, rock's dead." I don't think that's the case.
Oh no. Yeah. Absolutely.
So
rock can't die.
With those influences and your new album, you're talking. You're having that coming up. So like, talk about your writing process a little bit. Like like whose roles or what, and putting this together and how that all forms.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of ridiculous and go down a rabbit hole and like get super into song structures and like the sounds of things. And a lot of it starts with just someone has an idea. Josh and I will hop on the phone and Josh is like, yeah, I'm inspired by this effect, or I've got this, this riff, or vice versa. And then I'll take the riff and I'll just like build a song out of it, Yeah. And it's just like a good process of demoing and pass around the guys, and everybody puts their spin and their sauce on it, and then it turns into something that is way better and bigger than I could have ever imagined. And I think like that's the spark, right? Like that's what keeps it fun and keeps it like inspiring. It's just like, holy shit, what are we gonna come up with next?
Sure. Yeah.
And like that's the joy of making music. And then when we're in a room and we record it and we're listening to it at the playback, it's like, man, that's a feeling that I think everybody should experience. It's such a surreal moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah.
And in being an experienced band, are you noticing any difference with releasing new music now? Then you know what I mean? All right,
dude, man, I got to be honest. Like, I'm trying to stay hip to the game, like the TikToks and the reels and stuff, but at the same time, I think we need to stay authentic to who we are, right?
Sure.
And I think at the end of the day, man, if you make music and it's authentic to you and you mean what you say and you're just living, the life, like I think that's what speaks louder than, how many followers and Instagram views or whatever,
Absolutely.
But I mean, I'm not throwing shade at that. I think that's great.
Absolutely.
It's part of the game,
Yep.
but at the same time, it's not the focus for me. Maybe it should be in some aspects, but for the marketing side. But I think at the end of the day, it's just about making music that you believe in.
Yeah. I mean, probably a recurring theme in every one of our interviews or shows, Kevin and I are just talking independently, is live music. You just can't beat
like
live rock and roll.
It's church, man.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. Live rock and roll is just the experience of it. And there's nothing that will ever come out digitally that'll replicate that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then you can't believe everything you see on the internet either.
Yeah. Right.
So really doing a little bit of research to learn a little bit about you guys. I listened to pretty much everything you've put out that's on the streaming services, and I love all of it.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
But I did notice on your website, you mentioned you guys played at the Blue Ridge Rock Festival.
Yeah, dude, that was awesome.
How'd that come about?
That was it was an awesome experience. Opportunity came our way, and we got the opportunity to play on a Sunday, and it was on one of the main stages, and it was surreal. Yeah. It was like coming out of the COVID thing, and everyone was kind of like, "Whoa, we're in a big group of people now. Like, this is weird," But man, I gotta say, I feel like there was so much in the press about that, and how it was a complete shit show, and stay away. Yeah. But everybody that was there was taking care of one another, and it was that is the community that is rock and roll. Uh-huh. People were taking care of one another. You don't have water, I got you, man. You need somewhere to sleep, come sleep in my spot. That's what it's all about. Uh-huh. And just seeing people come together in that way, who gives a shit what they're saying on the news, and so isn't doing this and yada, yada, yada. But if you were there on the grounds, people were taking care of one another.
Yeah, sure.
And us being fans of music, some of my favorite bands ever were playing that, and me being able to be in the same space as those people.
The only thing that could have made it better is if Bush didn't get sick and have to drop off on something.
Dude, Bush, Gavin Rossdale.
Yeah,
you're a man, such a huge influence to me. And they were going to play that same day that on the same stage that we were playing, and shit fell through. And I was like, man, that would have been so cool. Yeah. But all things said, man, it was pretty surreal. Yeah, it was cool.
Is that the biggest crowd you guys have played in front of?
For sure. Uh-huh. But something I feel in my experience doing this a long time, I feel I don't know if other people feel this way, but the bigger crowds is easier to play in front of than the smaller crowds.
It kind of was. Yeah. You're right.
It was wild.
I've always heard that. It really was.
It was.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. It's more of an electric feel then for the larger group.
Yeah.
Now the nerves building up to that.
Sure.
That was a different.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But it was an awesome experience, man.
Uh-huh.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's a very underrated rock festival.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I feel it gets a lot of bad press and kind of noise around it, but
it's a lot of people that are kind of anti-rock down in that area.
Yes.
Too.
Yeah, so. I was about to say that's location is a little bit.
We were actually staying in a hotel, probably 45 minutes from the grounds where they had it, and we would get out and about, and it was very rural Virginia, tobacco fields.
Yeah, right.
And we all grew up in a really small town, Culpeper. Berkeley Springs is a small town too, so
sure.
But it ain't that small. You know what I mean? So it was definitely wild to think that they had a music festival there. But the cops, they were cool, and actually the community came together and donated school buses to get people shuttled to and from. So all things considered, man, they came together, and that's what music
getting bigger and bigger every year too.
Yeah. Yep. Sure. Yep. This is true.
Yeah. Where are you guys finding yourselves playing more recently? These venues in areas that we can find you with Pertha.
Sure. Yeah. 24th this month, we're going to be at Blue Fox in Winchester. Mm-hmm. I would say to any music fans in this area, Winchester, West Virginia, Berkeley Springs, that is a wonderful scene. Uh-huh. People come out to shows, people are supportive, we look after one another, and
it's like family.
It's family, man. Yeah. It's Blue Fox is a great venue, Yeah, Brandon Wright Live.
Yeah, shout out to Brandon Wright.
Brandon.
He,
my man.
He's been a big brother to everybody in that local community in Virginia and parts of Maryland and West Virginia.
Yeah.
And he's looked out for any musical band that I've been a part of. Like I play in several different bands in the scene, and he's always looking out for us. And and he's actually a big fan of Cursor, as was I. Still am.
I'm a big fan of his.
He's the singer of a band called Defending Cain, as well as
check him out.
another band called Breach of Silence. They're killer bands.
Yeah.
And the scene out that way is really, really special. Like, there's always wonderful support. The turnouts are always really great, and like very little drama. Like anywhere you go, there's going to be some, but like generally, like there's just good people.
Yeah,
they just want you to succeed, and they're fans of the music.
Nice.
Yeah,
it's just really, you feel at home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you really do.
Yeah. I'm feeling those vibes right now. I'm so great to see this happening here.
Yeah. It's hard to describe that to people that are part of like, the metal community, because you're right. Like you pointed it out from the outside, not if you don't understand the music or you don't like the approach, you don't like the distortion in the guitars, you don't like the vocals, or like you start to nitpick. You don't know that feel of the live environment,
right?
Which is magic.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the new album Apparitions is coming out this year.
Yep.
Later this year.
Yeah, May the 3rd is the date we have right now, and haven't announced it yet, but we have a release show that's going to be on May the 4th as well.
Okay.
So we're going to
just announced it.
We just announced it. World premiere.
Be with you.
Yeah, May the 3rd. May the 4th be with you.
Yes.
I think you're kind of getting the vibe. We're going for the C release show, right? But yeah, we're going to release a single in a few weeks, a song called Resolution.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's just
Stoked. Yeah, it's been a long time coming for
long time coming. It was actually the first song we recorded for the record, and we started in October of 2022.
Okay.
And it was a completely different experience than any other record I've ever made. It was like kind of like write 2 songs and then go record them. And it was a cool experience because you'd go in and you record the song and you'd be like, how can we one up these 2 we just did, So by the time we got to the end of the record, it was like, holy shit, like, what have we done, So it was really cool. So we're really stoked on the record and stoked for people to hear the singles coming out. We did release a single in October, Midnight Whistler. Do you guys know about the Midnight Whistler? You ever heard that term before?
No, huh?
So in Kentucky, that's what they call Bigfoot.
Oh.
So your boy is really into horror movies and cryptids and aliens and all that stuff. And
we have a friend who's big into Bigfoot.
I know, right? Yeah,
cool.
Right. Yeah. From Manassas.
Yeah.
Really?
Well,
introduce us.
he's made national press with his Bigfoot fetishes.
Oh.
fetish.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Well, I like Bigfoot and all, but
Were you talking about feet still?
yes, man. No shit. I bet he blows it up on a beat. But the record, man, it's going well. It's all done, really. Just kind of, I think the hard thing as a musician too is like when you make a record and then you're setting on it, it's like, I just want people to hear it. I want to get it out there.
Yeah.
But shit, we're already writing new songs. We've got some stuff that we're already working on that's in the pipeline, So.
And you're comfortable with that recording process. It's not, for some people it's very painful. For some people,
we love it.
Yeah, okay.
Dude,
It's my favorite.
yes.
Yeah.
If I could like just be in the studio all the time, yes, please.
I just live there.
Yeah, Steely Dan. That's like Steely Dan, right?
It was really unique because the recording process for all the songs were spread out over the course of a year. So it was broken up a good bit. So I'm sure it would have been different if we tried to all do it in like over the course of like 3-4 weeks.
Oh yeah, been pulling your hair out.
Right. I feel like it's possible it could have been more stressful, but I feel like you really hear the growth that we all individually went through, as all people do as we get older.
Yeah.
So you can hear like as each song kind of tells a story.
Yeah.
And you really hear different stages of life that we were all going through throughout that process. Whether it being grief, dealing with anxiety, right? The resolution, just kind of funny enough, that song we wanted to drop it as like a New Year's song 2 years ago. So
here we are.
Yeah, but
Life happens.
And that whole vibe is like just kind of like keep pushing forward, never giving up.
Yeah.
And it was really cool for me, just being a fan of the band, and like they've had 2 drummers before me, and I really wanted to come in making sure that I brought the energy that those guys did. And and you know, whenever we play like those older songs, I always try to stay true to their performances because that's part of what made me gravitate to the music.
Sure.
And I was such a big fan of it. So I always really try to pay homage to their parts. And I really wanted to try to bring and keep that energy when writing the new stuff. And then with throwing my own little spin here and there. But I really do think that the Apparitions record is a really solid evolution for the
it's
band
near
Cursor.
and dear to my heart. It's like so special because the experiences that I've had over the past year, each song, each session that we had, the 2 songs each session, it literally it replicated what I was going through in life at the time. And I'll never forget that. It was just a special year to me. You know? I can't wait for people to hear it.
Yeah. Big time.
Yeah.
I think it was really easy because we all get along so well.
Yeah. True.
Oh yeah, it was super easy as far as like
man.
what we wanted to do when we were in the moment and like hey, you hear this, you want to do that? Yeah, let's try it. You know, like there was no backlash between any of us. Like it was the easiest experience I've ever had writing with a group of guys.
Yeah, and like we're all like, you know, you put us in a room long enough, we're gonna make a song. You know, there's never any shortage. It's like sometimes I wish my brain would shut up. You know, someone will talk or they'll say something in a certain cadence, and it's like a melody in my brain, and then I'm like, you know what I mean? It's kind of ridiculous, but
it's called ADHD.
And here we are.
So the process of doing it a couple songs at a time, was that intentional?
Well, I don't know if anything's intentional in life really for me. I think sometimes it's just like, where are we, kind of where are we going, you know? There were some kind of growing pains, as you know, as Seth mentioned, like we were kind of going between members, and shout out to everybody that's been a part of Cursor. You know, we wouldn't be where we are without them. But sitting here today, it was certainly like, I had a bunch of demos, I had a bunch of songs, right? But I think the process of Steph recording drums at his spot, in his studio, and then us working with Will Beasley in Richmond, it was kind of just like, it's just kind of how it had to happen, you know? Like booking the time, going down there, and then kind of having the, because we would go like 3-4 days at a time at the Bakery Studio. Shout out to them in Richmond. Great
they take
studio.
Good care of you, man. They got bunk beds. They got showers.
Yes, awesome spot. You know,
$30 a night. The band stays, right?
It's good stuff. And,
it's just interesting because the Knuckleheads were talking about recording their record, and they were doing like 7, 8, 9 hour increments. Over a short stretch of time to get their album put together.
Right. Yeah. Well, we would grind on it. We'd start like noon and be done like 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night. You know what I mean? So it's just part of the process. But everything that we do, it's painstakingly trying to find like what serves the song. Everything from the tone to the effects used, to the drum sound, to the bass sound, to the way the vocal lays, the vocals effects, you know? It's all just like, I think the biggest thing about Cursor is that we're always just trying to like create a vibe, you know? And we're always saying like, let's catch that vibe, you know? Like that's what we're always trying to do is just, you know, what is the song trying to say, and then bring in all the elements that make it come to life. You know, create the world in the song.
Yeah, nice.
So yeah, it was a cool experience. I wouldn't say it was intentional per se, but I'm glad it worked out the way it did.
And we'll be hearing a lot of those songs tonight live.
Yes. Yes. Most of the set tonight is all new stuff.
Actually, probably 5 or 6 songs?
Yeah, I'd say probably 80% of the set is new off Apparitions.
Awesome. So if people are listening now and they're not down here yet,
get your ass in the car and get down here.
Come on.
Exactly.
Come on down. Yeah, man, we gotta build this up. We gotta get this local scene happening.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's part of why we're doing what we're doing with this.
Yeah,
We appreciate you guys for it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
All about live music.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So as we're wrapping up, let folks know how they can reach out, find out what's going on with the band, dates, what are your social media outlets?
Yeah, we're on Instagram, Cursor_VA. That's probably the most active. We're on Facebook as well, Cursor Band. But yeah, 224 will be at Blue Fox. We're supporting some friends of ours in Sever Red. They just dropped an EP. And yeah, we're just going to be kind of ripping, and we're usually playing every month, a couple shows a month. That's what we're doing. And yeah, you can find us on social media, you know.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Well, thanks for stopping by. We're looking forward to the set.
Thank you guys.
Yeah,
Thanks for having us.
All right. We're going to break away on the Stand Up and Shout Rock Show.
Bye.